Using the following information, prepare the balance sheet of Gajana Company Limited. They have given us current ratio 2.75, asset test ratio 2.25, working capital 3,50,000, reserves and surplus 50,000. Total current asset included stock, debtor, cash only, which are in the ratio of 2:6:3. Creditors and bills payable and the ratio of 3:2. Fixed assets are 50% of share capital. Share capital is 6 lakhs. There are no other items of assets and liabilities. Now, what is interesting about this question is they have given us some facts about a company, and using these facts about a company, we're expected to construct the balance sheet back. And also in the list of details that have been shared with us, if you notice, it's only current ratio, asset test ratio, which are actually ratios. All the other details that have been given to us, these are merely plain information. Now, using this information, we will have to construct the balance sheet. When we construct the balance sheet, something very crucial that you have to remember at the back of your minds is that asset side has to be equal to the liability side. I'll repeat that, asset must be equal to liability. So let's start solving this question. Whenever you get questions like this, the first and the foremost approach that you have to take is you have to list out all the pieces of information that are given to you. Okay? You have to list out all the pieces of information that have been given to you in the question. So I have just listed out all the pieces of information that has been given to us in the question. And what you have to do is into your notebooks as well, you will, or into your answer scripts, you will have to do exactly the same. But when you're recording this into your answer booklets, what you have to do is that you have to ensure that you're leaving adequate spaces in between. Now, why is it that I'm requesting you to leave adequate space in between? The reason why I'm requesting you to leave adequate space in between is because you will have to come back later and then process on these pieces of information. Okay, you will have to come back later and then work on these pieces of information. Okay, so this is what we are going to be doing right now. So like this, you will have to enter the details into your notebooks. And when you're entering these details into your notebooks, one very important thing that you have to remember is that to make sure that you leave sufficient spaces. So maybe 3 to 4 lines, 4 to 5 lines between each of these pieces of information. That should be good enough. Okay. Now let's start solving these questions. Okay. Let's start solving these questions now. So just for your understanding, what I would be doing is all the pieces of information that are given to you in the question, for you to differentiate it better, I will just highlight that red in color. Okay. So because when I start solving, it should not be confusing for you. So just to make sure that you're able to identify which are the pieces of information, I will be highlighting those with a color. Okay, so we've done that. Okay, now let's solve it one by one. Okay, let's solve these pieces of information one by one. We know that current ratio is 2.75, or current ratio's formula is current asset divided by current liability, and we know this is 2.75, or current asset is equal to 2.75 times your current liability. Okay? So there is nothing much that we can do right now with this piece of information. So let's stop over here. Let's move on to the next ratio which has been given to us. Okay, let's move on to the next ratio that has been given to us. That is asset test ratio. It is also called its quick ratio. So quick ratio is 2.25, or quick ratio is equal to quick asset divided by quick liability, and this is 2.25 times. Or in other words, quick asset is equal to 2.25 times quick liability. Okay. So this again, we are not able to solve any further. So we are moving on to the next piece of information. Next piece of information tells us that working capital is equal to 3,50,000, or current asset minus current liability. This is 3,50,000, or current asset is equal to 3,50,000 plus current liability. Okay, so we've solved until here. Okay, so let's assume this to be let us assume this to be equation A. Okay, so now we are going to take equation A and we are going to substitute over here. So substituting current asset in current asset from equation A, okay, we get 3,50,000 plus current liability. This is equal to 2.75 times your current liability, or 3,50,000 is equal to 2.75 times current liability minus current liability, or 3,50,000 is equal to 1.75 times your current liability, or current liability is equal to 3,50,000 divided by 1.75. Okay, so 3,50,000 divided by 1.75. So we will get current, from this we get current liability is equal to 2 lakh. Okay, so substitute the value of current liability, you get current asset is equal to 5,50,000. Okay, so from this we have got the values for current liability and then current asset. Okay, we've got the values of current liabilities and current assets. Now let's see if we can do something with this particular equation. Now something which is very interesting that is given to us in the question was there are no other items or assets and liabilities. Okay? There are no other items of assets and liabilities. So what does that mean? Apart from the assets and liabilities which are mentioned in the question, you will not be having any other assets or liability items. So we know the formula for current assets, we know the formula for quick assets, we know the formula for quick liability. So quick asset is equal to current asset minus stock plus prepaid expenses, and quick liability is equal to current liability minus bank overdraft. Okay. Now, if you look over here, we have stock, we have prepaid expenses, and then you have bank overdraft. The question does not have any reference to prepaid expenses. It does not have any reference to bank overdraft. But stock, it has been mentioned in the question. So let us assume prepaid expenses and bank overdraft to be 0. Okay. So let's work out this. So here what happens is quick asset is equal to current asset minus stock, okay, and quick liability will be equal to current liability. So substituting that, we can rewrite this equation as current asset minus stock, okay, because we've got a new formula for quick asset, and this is equal to 2.25 times current liability. Okay, so we know the value. Let's rearrange this formula. We will get stock. We will get stock is equal to 2.25 times current liability minus current asset. So let me just cross check the signs. Okay, no, sorry, it was the other way around. It should be current asset minus 2.25 times current liability. Okay, so let's just quickly solve for this. Stock is equal to, we know the value of current asset 5,50,000, 5,50,000 minus 4,50,000. So we get stock is equal to 1 lakh. Okay, stock is equal to 1 lakh. Okay, so with that we have got, so far we've got the value of current liability, we've got the value of current asset, and then we've also got the value of stock. Now let's move on. Next piece of direct information that we know is reserves and surplus. Reserves and surplus is 50,000. There is nothing much that we can process with this because it's a straight piece of information. Then what has been given to us is that current asset is equal to stock, includes stock, debtor, cash, which are in the ratio of 2:6:3. So stock, debtor, and cash, which is included in current asset, it is in this proportion. So current asset is equal to stock plus debtor plus cash. Okay, and then we know current asset is equal to 5,50,000. This is equal to stock. So all this is in the proportion. So let's assume the unknown factor to be x. Since we have a proportion, okay, so what we know is 2x plus 6x plus 3x. This is equal to 5,50,000, or 11x is equal to 5,50,000, or x is equal to 50,000. Okay, so stock, how much is stock? Stock is, we know it is 2x and 2x. So we know stock is 2x, and 2x is equal to, and 2x is 1 lakh. Okay, next what we have is debtor, and debtor is 6x, and 6x is 3 lakh. Okay, 6x is 3 lakh. Then we have cash, and cash is 3x, and 3x is 1,50,000. Okay, so we've got the value of stock, debtor, and cash. Stock, any which ways we had got it earlier as well, but whatever answer that we have got, it is concurrent with each other, it is matching with each other, so because of which our answer is correct. Okay, now let's move on to next one. Next one is creditors. So we know creditors and bills payable are in the ratio of 3:2. So creditors and bills payable, this amounts to what? These are actually your current liabilities. And what has been told to us in the question also, there are no other assets or liabilities apart from the one which has been mentioned. So let us assume creditors. So current liability is equal to current liability is equal to creditors plus bills payable. Okay. Or in other words, 2 lakh, that is the sum total. So we're here also we're assuming the unknown factor to be y. So 3y plus 2y, or 5y is equal to 2 lakh, or y is equal to 40,000. So which means creditors is 3y, and creditors is 1,20,000, and bills payable, this is 2y, and this works out to be 80,000. Okay. So with that, we have got the value of current liability as well. We know, okay, next piece of information what has been given to us is that fixed assets. Okay, fixed assets is equal to 50% of share capital, and we know share capital is 6 lakh, which means fixed asset is equal to 3 lakh. Now, share capital information that has been given to us, this is a direct piece of information. There is nothing much that we can do with it. So we have processed most of the pieces of information that has been given to us. Now, please remember the question is not over as yet. We will have to go about with the preparation of balance sheet in order to complete this question. Okay? For us to complete this question, we will have to go about with the preparation of the balance sheet. So we have processed the ratio. So the final step that we have to carry out right now is we have to go about with the preparation of the balance sheet. We've got some of the items, and let's try and fit in those items, and let's see if our balance sheet is tallying. Okay, we have to try and see if our balance sheet is tallying. So here we can start off with share capital. Share capital that has been given to us in the question. We've been told that it is 6 lakh. Then we have reserves and surplus. This is 50,000. Then we've been given current assets. Which are the current assets which have been given? We have creditors, and creditors is 1 lakh 20,000. Then we have bills payable, and bills payable is 80,000. Okay. So then let's move on to the assets. Which are the assets that we have? The assets, fixed assets, what we've been told is fixed assets is 3 lakh, and then what else do we know? Fixed assets have been given. Then we have the current assets. So the current assets that we have are stock. Stock is 1 lakh. Then we have debtor. Debtors is 3 lakh. Then we have cash, and cash is 1 lakh 50,000. So let's total up all this, and 8 lakh 50,000 is what we have over here. Okay, let's see the other side as well. Let us see the other side as well. The other side is also 8 lakh 50,000. So with that, we have completed the preparation of the balance sheet. And if you'd also notice, both the sides are tallying with each other. So our balance sheet preparation is perfect and it is complete.